beautiful people. Welcome back to the Teachers Podcast. If you are new here, welcome. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. It's always great having you here. Please make sure that you watch till the end for some valuable teaching tips. My name is Matlalajoe, and of course, I am not alone. We have a very special guest today, and I will just introduce her because you know what? Me and this special guest, we are actually sisters from another mother. So today we have Matlalajoe Palesa. She is a South African educator, attorney, poet, content creator, and curator currently based in Busan, South Korea. What a gem! Her teaching background spans in dramatic arts, life orientation, business studies, ESL, and law. Palesa is passionate about creating inclusive, learner centered spaces that empower young people and reflect their diverse realities. Outside the classroom, Matlalajoe is also an educational content creator, sharing resources, reflections, and real life experiences on TikTok at Matlalajoe S, and the YouTube channel she shares with her life partner Sizwe Tabang Mahopela called Bade Chronicles. These platforms allow her to connect with global audiences on topics like teaching abroad, personal and professional growth, and creative expression. As a poet, she's performed on stages in both South Africa and Busan, South Korea. And she, in partnership with Sizwe, curate poetry and jazz sessions in Busan, South Korea, crafting spaces where people can gather, reflect, and feel through words and music as art keeps us alive. Matlalajoe is currently completing a master's in critical diversity studies. Her work, whether in the classroom, on stage, or online, is all about storytelling, healing, and building community. And guess what? Today, she has something special just for you and I. Please, Matlalajoe, the stage is yours, ma'am.
Hi, Queen. Thank you so much for having me. Hello, everybody. So, I've got three little pieces I prepared for you guys. The first one is titled Sundays Are for Mountains. It was always whispered to me during the stillness of my sleep. Our elders believe that Sundays belong to mountains. What you call fun hiking, I receive as fetching my humanity. You echo enjoyment of stillness. I shower in my ancestors' screams. As their wildest fantasies, mountains mold me into silencing these screams. Mountains are the mic exercised to sing my ancestors back to serene settings. Mountains belong to stillness. Flying formed in fear breeds liberation. Found in broken pieces, neatly picked on a tray leading to bleeding blessings. Mountains mold mindfulness. Deep beneath the valleys of wandering souls. Deep in strong streams, a spot. Speaking becomes what silence seeks. At home, a home where the bridge between their children, reality, and dreams is gravely endangered, barely keeping the children in sync. Stillness belongs to Sundays. Zones, smooth stones collaborate with rough hummingbirds, sailing gently towards screaming the sunset's secrets, secrets buried in sobbing waters, yearning to be fulfilled and set free. Sundays belong to mountains chasing to capture while cultivating your brilliance. Mud forms an alliance with the present, searching for the past on a pursuit to ink the ground with an eye opening picture, perfect resemblance of your resonance. Mountains are play, prayer, peace. Sundays are fun, forgiveness, fortune.
Woo!
So that was the first baby. And the second poet just speaks back to my time at the legal, back when I was a lawyer. Well, I
Yes,
think I still am a lawyer. Back when I was a practicing lawyer.
yes,
This
yes.
one is titled Unconscious Bias.
So
I think I just wrote it because a
beautiful.
lot of. Hmm?
That is so beautiful.
Ah, thank you. So this
Oh,
one, I wrote because a lot of times when we were practicing, whenever there would be things that would happen and there would be inequalities, a lot of people would be like, "No, don't mind it. It's unconscious bias. It's unconscious bias." So this is where the title of this poem and basically the context comes from. Unconscious bias. The purity brewing out of my love for you, the power breathing out of your hate for me, broke this rough diamond into pieces that build me. A beautiful disaster, conceived by a love hate illusion, your lethal love for the law, your humble hate for my living, your luminous love for power, your humid hate for progression, a lover I loved in the blink of an eye. I was drowning in love even when you lie. I believe your lies. I believed you would never lie, the prettiest falsehood ever kissed by lips. I believed you when you said, tarnish all you were ever taught. Your pride sang for me to be great. I needed to embrace your grace like any other law lover. I believed your every spoken word, especially when your breath gave me a compass embodying all the coordinates, pinpointing to you, giving me the world to the world. You are the universe messiah of the planet, a perfect polished partner I ought to cherish, worship, and praise. Praise you to the way. Praise you all the way to the end of an era where your heart produces a map of how you have had enough of me, leading you to replacing me with a younger version of me, as replacing me is engraved in your scriptures as your fondest prescription. Why would the stars? Why would the stars not envision you as everything? Among them, you shine the brightest. Whenever you and I are dancing with them, I am your star. You sell them the vision of me being your universe. You extraordinarily worship and praise me. You embrace my black excellence to its entire existence. To the stars, your darkness is non existent. The stars see you as Mr. Right, a reflection of my rise, one who performs no harm yet harmful. As when hidden by closed corridors, your beast comes out to feast, your light bulb confessing, I can do no right. Why the Mr. Right? Caught in the right fire of I love you not. The thought of you, who I ought to be with you in your presence, I was burning in love. I broke the systematical oppression chains, a fish caught in freeing myself from burning. I swam. I swam and made it all the way to forgiving you, leading to living, breathing, swimming, shining without you. Thank you.
wait, wait, wait. Before we move on, I feel like everything is just you express yourself so well through writing, through poetry, and as because this poem, as much as it sounds like it's a love story, but it's your love for law, and as I'm just and the lies and the oh
Yeah.
oh my goodness, this is so
Okay.
beautiful. I'm getting goosebumps as you are
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
presenting the
Thank you
poem.
so much,
It's like,
Queen.
okay,
Mm.
okay, superstar. That is so beautiful.
Thank you, man. Last one. So, as a social activist, I think I'd like to call myself a lot of things. But social activist is not something that I wrote there because, or it's not part of my biography because I feel like activism should be what all of us do. It should be inherent to us. It shouldn't necessarily be part of this is what like I've trained to do. It just should be inherent, Robin. So this poem I wrote just as a response to the femicide that's been happening in South Africa. I think it's just heartbreaking. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. I'm sorry. The boy declares. His words give birth to a drawing long after burning her soul, long before beating her heart, long after breaking into her destiny. Long before stealing her last breath, long after battling fate to the gate of her untimely death, I am alive, the girl aches to mumble. Long after yet another win for toxic masculinity, long before the sharp blade earns a gold medal on a meal, as society spills sin on a maiden, showering her with sad sunset tales, tales of how her destiny lies in the kitchen toasting treats. I am a witness, society screams, long after her face receives reconstructive surgery, long before he sings a symphony cursing her wide, welcoming smile, accompanied by a curation of how her skirt is short, sexy, single. I believed you, fear asserts. I believed you, fear asserts. Long after the girl grants herself a grain of her wishes, she settles a score with her silence. Doom performs a standing ovation as the boy's feet keep his long cherished promise. Belly dancing the girl to the grave. I'm shattered, I'm shattered, I'm shattered. Perhaps sorry, the boy recites her fear of his disappearance. Headline NBC News. Fact not, dreams brood into nightmares of fiction. I, Azania, I, Azania, I, Azania, I, Azania am experiencing yet another womb's disappearance.
Hmm.
Thank you.
You know, you are touching on that is also a very beautiful piece, by the way, you know,
Thank
and
you.
it
Thank
is
you.
sending a message. As much as this is a teacher's podcast, but also we as the teachers, we are also part of the people who should be addressing such
Yeah.
issues, because
Yes.
this is a very, very big issue in our country,
Mm.
especially with the with it being a norm now that every
Yeah.
man has a different story.
Mm.
No one is safe, and
Mm.
you know, I know that it took a lot for you to even sit down and
You.
take a pen, because I'm also a writer. I know how devastating it gets when you are writing such, such a sensitive piece. But
Mm.
the message needs to go out there. We need to talk about such things.
True.
So
True.
thank you so much for this masterpiece. Thank you so
Mm.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes.
Mm.
And I don't know if I'm still in the, teachers podcast, or if I'm in a poetry session, because honestly, I was just enjoying, I was
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
lucky me, oh, and lucky you, dear viewer, because we are getting it for free.
Listen, we've got you.
Yes. So, Palisa,
Mm.
you've had such an interesting journey from law to education and to moving to South Korea. What sparked that big shift from law to education?
So yeah, no, thank you so much. Like I said, Queen, thank you so much for having me. I feel so honored, and I'm looking forward to this exciting conversation. I think when I decide, it was so interesting. So just a backstory: when I left the law, I wasn't necessarily leaving the law to be a teacher, right? I had left the law to go back and study and enhance my skills and my techniques of being a performer. You know what I mean? So the way, I always tell people that teaching is a calling, and like finally even my partner, like me and him, are in sync with that as well. Like teaching is such a calling, because when I left the law, then resigned, blah blah blah, I'm like, baby, I'm going to be a performer, I'm going to be a performer. I've always loved writing. I've always loved expressing myself through the pen, because sometimes I get moments where I can't speak as expressive as I am. There comes a time where I really can't speak, and then the pen and paper saves me. So I left the law and I got to varsity. I registered for a post-grad qualification in arts, right? To be a performer. And then our first class, the lecturer comes in and they like to us, if you guys want to be on stage, if you want to be on TV, then this is the wrong course for you. I'm like, Njani, how is it? It cannot be. Like, I'm here to study drama, like, because I want to be on stage. And he's like,
Yes.
no, guys, if you want to study drama, if you want to be on TV, you need to go to the other side of the building. So at Wits University, we had the Drama for Life. That is like my alma mater, and
Mhm.
then we have the Wits School of Arts. So
Okay.
Drama for Lives particularly focuses on using dramatic tools for social change. You can literally be a math teacher and go to Drama for Life and do an honors degree, and you'll be taught how to use dramatic techniques to teach math in a way that informs the social change that needs to happen in your classroom, right? And
That's
I mean, when the lecture said that, I said, I'm like, it's gonna be so awkward for me to get out in the middle. And plus, be shy, man. Like, ya wa rata mahlabatho, but when it's intentional, not nje go pha.
yes,
So then I
yes.
sat through the lecture, and he lectured us. He's even still one of my favorite lectures to date, because he's one of those people that played a very huge role into assisting me into focusing. And then after that, I mean, I got home and I'm like, yo, baby, this is what the thing is about. It's not about this. And actually, I'm so excited, blah, 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 blah. And when I was still at my law place, I
Yes.
did a TEFL certificate. And I was already interested in the ESL thing, but I wasn't like the connection between me being a full-time teacher and me being like an ESL teacher, it wasn't merged already. So then, yeah, man, fast forward. I then completed my post grad, and it was during COVID. And then it was like, as in Miguel, Indaba, yeah, IT is not gonna, pass, right? This classroom thing is calling your name. Like the underground gang is also like, "Muthamudimo, you need to
Let's
be in the
go.
classroom, you know,
Yes.
you need to be in the classroom."
The
And
babies are waiting.
we spoke with my partner, and then we decided, it would make sense for me to do my PGCE. And then I applied for an internship, which is very important. I think people sleep on internships, like teaching internships. It was one of the best things that I've ever exposed myself to. And then when I was interviewed for the internship, because the question, this is such an interesting journey, always comes up. Like, it's not a lot of people that leave the law to be in the classroom. And
Yes.
I told I told my mentor at the time that, what, at some point, because also I'm a late bloomer, when I didn't know I'm making sure we having this interview so late. Like, I've always been taught, and we'll get on with it later on when we speak about my dad and whatever. But my dad had always taught me to study late at night because everything is quiet.
Yes.
So ever since I was in high school, after Nagoya Tapelo, he would sit there in my room and I'd sit, and he'd be like, "Bala ngwanana," and I'd be like, there's nothing to study, there's no homework. He's like, if there's no homework, bala ko pele. Like, kana ko bala, kena ko bala. And I then inherited that. Gore, ka dinako tsa di-AMs, like after nako ya thapelo, I'm a no bale because it's very
Yes.
quiet. So I've had that for the longest of time. Even now, Shem, with people who are so cool like because I'm a night owl.
Night
But
owl.
anyway, when he asked me why did he leave the law, I'm like, at some point in my life, I had to ask myself this one question: do I wanna be sitting up at 2 o'clock in the morning, writing legal opinions, or do I wanna be sitting up at 2 o'clock in the morning marking student scripts? And I mean, because I was applying for an internship, the answer was technically, it was like obvious.
Yes. Obviously,
Yeah.
you
So
need to do
yeah.
that. My king.
Mm. So I think outside of the fact that I feel like this is a calling, I just I love the law, but
Mhm.
it didn't, especially corporate law, it didn't give me the satisfaction of the teaching learning structure that the classroom affords me. As a
Yeah.
lifelong learner, like I always want to see, okay, what am I learning? What are the people I'm communicating with learning, you know? And corporate law was too brutal for me, man. I'm always told, oh, I'm too sweet for it. But yeah, yeah.
Yes. I mean, as an artist, like teaching is art on its own, and
Mm,
it
mm,
makes sense that as an artist, you would choose going into education because
mm.
that's where also you are able, because sometimes when you're teaching, you are performing, you
You
know?
are all the time, all the time.
So I feel like it actually makes sense.
Mm,
And you are a very brilliant and also a very joyful person. I mean, I've got to spend, a few hours with you, and you
mm.
always make the space warm, and I can just imagine you being that warm person, and then now having to, defend,
Mm,
people who are, you understand, and also you are in a space where now you have to always be serious, and so
yeah,
I honestly, for me, I feel like teaching goes with your personality
yeah.
also, if I may say.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. Yeah, no,
But
I mean, in my corporate office, I was always the awkward person. Like, every Friday, ke fihla ka venti, ka torn jeans, and just a t-shirt from Kokasi, and everybody would be like, who is this girl? Like, all the dresses are blue. Nje, I've just always been the black sheep of corporate space, and it's okay.
Miss Ateni
Yeah.
with torn jeans, but
And blue dreadlocks.
like a whole fashionista, a whole artist. That's art speaking, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But when you moved into teaching, like, did you feel ready, or was it like something like, ah man, I'll see, I'll learn as I go.
Mhm.
Like, how did you?
So I think, that's why I'm saying the internship process was so amazing. I think I was very fortunate and blessed to have after the TEFL course that I did, right? It was 140 hours where I got to have the package that has 20 hours practical, right? So even before I started my PGCE, I had got exposed because it was a UK, company. I had gotten exposed to be in a classroom with other prospective TEFL teachers for 20 hours. And we were given like time to teach kindy, to teach, middle scholars, to teach
Yeah.
adults. Ke gopola ha ke kgutla moo, and then ke fihla ko baby, I'm like, yo, baby, I've made up my mind. Like, finally, I actually want to be a teacher. And she was
I'm
like,
doing
okay,
this. I'm
no.
ready.
It's just like, okay, baby, like, okay, let's do this. But it was that 20 hours sparked the idea, oh man, I can do this, man. Like, I'm gonna be paid like from a month to month basis of because I'm gonna be performing. But more than that, for me, it was the idea of being a lifelong learner. Like, that's what in STEM based, I love learning now. Like, yo, I love it. And every time I'm in the classroom, I remove the fact that I'm teaching more than I'm facilitating, meaning my students do most of the talking,
Yeah.
meaning I'm just sitting there being like, these kids. Or sometimes I'm like, and then what's along more, like, what am I missing? But I felt ready because of the TEFL course, but also because when I did my PGCE, I was an intern, at a very good school. And my mentors were brilliant people that also gave me the space. Like, I was never at a point where they were like, no, sit down, you're an intern. I immediately, like, if I started teaching, I started having classes, and I even taught A levels, and I'm just like, but now why do they have so much faith in me? I'm like,
Yeah.
wait again, there's something in this, so let me just run with it. But because I was so hungry for it, it's always been home. Let me
Mm.
put it that way. So I guess I did feel ready.
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean, like you are saying, when you are in the classroom, you are also learning, and
Mm,
that's
mm,
the whole point. because you need to be looking at your students and learning their moves. Sometimes when you're
Mm.
looking at the kids, you somehow see how they think. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, so this is how they think. This is how they do
True.
this.
Mm.
And it's
Mm.
it's very beautiful. And I really love what you said, that the internship and plus the TEFL certificate, they
Mm.
really assisted you. And
Yes.
that is very important, because you always need some formal education,
Yes.
to
Yes.
prepare yourself. For you
Mm.
to be ready, you always need, even you said you had 20 hours, but I trust and believe that for the first hour you got into that classroom, that was you getting ready. The first
Mm.
hour of getting inside, and it was so very thoughtful of your mentors to allow you not
Yeah.
to just observe. I really did not like the word when I was also in university, when they saying, no, you're just observing for this year. No, because as people, we also learn by doing. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
so it's great that they gave you
Mm.
that space and the opportunity, and like
Yeah.
you said, they trusted you enough to
Mm.
allow you to be in that space, which goes to say a lot about the person that you are.
Mm.
Yes, so I know, I feel like one of the things that one could do for themselves is to get some formal education, or even if
Yes,
it's a
please.
certificate, if you are moving to any, if you are changing careers, just
Mm.
get something, just to educate yourself
Yeah.
on, even if it's a short course, you
Mm.
know. But what
Mm.
was the biggest mindset shift you had to make when you left South Africa to Korea? Because you're currently now in South Korea. So what was
Yes.
the biggest mindset shift that you had to make?
Mm. I think you know what. Um. So the mind shift for me happened when I got here. It was more of a culture shock more than the mind shift, because I think for the person that I am, so I've always loved traveling, right? So I'm born and raised in Katlehong, Vosloorus, and um I left there to study in Limpopo. Then I left there to come back to Joburg and study. Then we left, and then we went to Durban to go work. So moving around has always been like something that I love. And from a very young age, I realized, especially when I left from home to Limpopo, I realized I thrive better in foreign spaces because I get to be on survival mode. Then I don't get to be a spoiled brat or whatnot. Like, you need to do the things that need
Comfortable.
to be done.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So for me, when we got here, the first few weeks were hard because I mean, remember, I moved from South Africa from here to there, from here to there, but we're still in the majority, right? And then I get here, and then I'm like, I'm a black person. Like, I don't know if people will understand this, but it's like, I've never felt like I was a black person until I
Yeah. You feel it when you get here.
yeah. No, I was just like, babes are black, like umuntu ngwanana. And even to a point where I even started like not wanting to go out, and because like I started being self-conscious. But when coming to the classroom, I already adjusted myself to know hore, a child is a child is a child, you know.
Yes.
And one of the other reasons, sorry, as a parent, one of the other reasons I told myself was I'm always going to be the teacher that I want my kids to have. Not even the teacher that I had, but the
Ooh,
teacher that I want my children to have, right? Because I'm very, like me and my partner are very intentional with regards to like being in the diaspora and raising our kids here, knowing the fact that we're black. And for me, another thing, representation, like, guys, I'm sorry, like, I speak in layers, please forgive
yeah.
me. Representation is also important, right? So then I get into the classroom, I know that I want to be the teacher my kids are going to have, so that empathetic, parent, that caring, therapist, that friendly but not friends, that
Mm-hmm.
friend. opening arms, welcoming teacher. Um, so with regards to the students, it wasn't that hectic. I really enjoyed the technology aspect of it, but not to a point where I was shocked because the schools that I taught in back in South Africa were just as advanced. About like I said, I was very fortunate to be in in international or multiracial schools that have the facilities. So from that perspective, it wasn't a shift as such.
Yes.
Um, and just understanding how bliss not knowing the language is, like the way I'm so unbothered when these kids talk to me in Korean, and I would even say like I can't hear you, like even if you can tell me from the bottom, like just speak English, I cannot hear you. And sometimes that's where I'm just like ignorance is bliss, because sometimes you would see from the body language "Oh, one
No.
oh, one ella," but I'd be unfazed because it's like as long as it's babes, it's all good, on the hood. Variety. Like I'm chilled, But yeah, that was the fact that for the first time, I was not ready to
Yeah,
be reminded of how black I am,
yes,
basically. Yeah.
yes. Culture shocks are real, and by the time you land in Korea or any Asian countries, I feel like that's where you see
Mm.
actually that in Africa we are actually diverse. As much as in
Yo.
Africa we are the majority, but you don't get shocked when you see
Mm.
a white person. And then when you get to South Korea, you can go for days without seeing a black person. So
Literally.
so
Literally.
I get you. I get it. Like it's a big culture shock and it takes a
Mm.
lot from you because you start, being so,
Self-conscious.
conscious.
Mm.
You also thinking, oh, and also they stare. I feel like the staring makes it
No,
uncomfortable.
but I mean, the art system is just like stay all you want, boo thing.
I'm
Like
not. You're the masterpiece. So
that part I'm just like listen, but sometimes it does get awkward, like
yeah,
not 100%. Sometimes
yeah,
as a person you have off days where it's
mm,
like, yo guys, why do you want to touch my hair, like
yeah.
leave me
Wait,
alone.
wait, not today.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's like
not.
I could walk around with the sign
Mm.
out of order, like leave me alone. But yeah.
Yeah, and you did mention that you did like your TOEFL certificate, and you've done a lot of online courses, like
Yeah.
and also content creation, poetry, and jazz events. How do you keep yourself learning and inspired as a teacher and creative? Like, where do you get the time? How do you
Yo,
keep
damn.
yourself,
Like, I mean, we all have 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
But firstly, I have a very strong support
Mm,
structure. Yo, guys,
very
I
important.
wouldn't be anywhere without my boo thing. Oh my goodness, that
Very
man.
important.
I have a very like beautiful strong support structure, like he's my best friend, right? So on the one level we keep each other very accountable, but on the other level it's just this idea gore we love learning, like sometimes when we're just chilling, if he's writing his poetry and I'm just there listening, and then what he said, I'm like, yo, I'm so inspired, I'm like, okay, I must pick up my crops.
Yes, yes.
And when I'm writing the poetry, then we're sharing. But also the idea of having mentors. I think a lot of us in the Black communities really take for granted how important mentorship is. And I've always had mentors, even from my undergrad. Like there's so many people that are like my mentors that know, but there's so many other people that don't even know they're my mentors because I
Right?
follow them religiously. Like
See,
I just follow,
they have
and
no
I've got an obsessive, I've got an obsessive personality. So once I love something, kida, I'm there. And one of the fortunate things that happened was for me to love education. So I always want to know if I'm confused. My best friend o teng ke a mmotsa, babes ho etsahalang? If we both don't know, then I can go to my mentor, then we can research, then we can figure things out. But I always want to be in the space where I know that I'm using my time to learn, you know, and because that's like you're like just knowing being a lifelong learner is a lifelong commitment, right? So how do I better myself for my student? How do I better myself to show up for my partner? How do I show up for my kids? How do I show up for my family sometimes? So sometimes as an awkward person, then I realized, oh, okay, reading this book about how to interact with strangers would assist, as somebody who cares so much, reading multiple ways of different ways of how not to give an F. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So even Nakeloloyaka works in a way where if I haven't read something, I don't necessarily understand it. So
Uh,
even when I rehearse my poetry, like if I have to do like a performance thing, a lot of my colleagues when I was back at varsity used to be like, "Yo, always pampiri," because I need to write it over and over again. And even Caesar would be like, "Why say record and listen to yourself? I can listen to myself writing. Like I'm gonna listen to
your
me,
power is
and
in
then
the
I'm still writing."
that's where
You
your
know,
power is in the pen.
that's why I understand. That is home. So I just have always been at a point where even with my dad has always loved books, so he's always encouraged me, oh baby girl, because nje, you've got this thing of not loving to be domesticated. Ngwanaka, ikele sekolong, o sa tlo sutlana le batho, just go to school. So it's just being fortunate to be in spaces where people actually promote my learning, and not only promote it but support it and encourage it. And the one thing about books is that nobody can take away your knowledge. Or when I was in corporate and I was going and I was feeling like, yo, girl, do you really have a law degree? Like, what's happening here? And I was having like inferiority complexes. I like the books reminded me, listen, babes, you're the girl that you are. So just there's like a plethora of knowledge, and I'm only gonna rest when I die, basically. And it's a joke at home where we always like, "Yo, mara, ha re phomole ne, ha ntano tla phomola ha o le tlasa mobu," a re pushe, a re pushe, a re pushe. So yeah.
It sounds like you have had a very beautiful foundation of support
Yeah.
from your father, and now as an adult also you're getting the support also from your partner, and also
Mm,
allowing yourself to have mentors, that's
mm,
very important. Even myself, I always make sure that I have we always need someone who has
yes,
done it, or who's doing it better,
yes,
someone that you can
yes.
look up to, and also have conversations with them, or try to, read and research. These days, we are so fortunate. We also have podcasts, like you were saying, they said you should record and listen to yourself. There's a lot of, if you're not a person to read, you can just listen to audio.
Mm,
So there's so
mm,
many ways that um, one can actually upskill themselves both
yes,
personally and professionally. And I love the
definitely.
fact that you said you make sure that you become a better person for
Mm,
yourself, your kids, your family, your partner.
mm,
That goes to show that you are not just thinking in one aspect of life,
mm,
but
mm,
you want
mm.
to make sure that you are balancing all aspects of your life. And that is
Yeah,
very important. Balance
yeah.
is very important, in this day and age. So, before I was just thinking about something when you spoke about mentorship. And I just want to say, right? I've also been like following you, in just another way to like say,
Don't make me shy.
and just, I ask you a lot of questions,
Yeah, yeah.
how do I do this? How do I do that? Because also as myself,
Mm.
I I'm not really a baby in this education industry, but I'm learning every day,
Yes,
and I
yes.
also, acknowledge when I see people like you and the likes of Jay, and
Mhm.
yes, when I see such that, oh, these people have so much knowledge and
Mm,
I can actually learn so much being in
yeah,
those spaces. And that's
exactly.
what I always encourage people to do. Sometimes spaces or opportunities won't come to you. You need to follow the right people. You need
Mm,
to be in the
mm,
right spaces at the right time with the right crowd. So I really loved um, what you said. So Palesa,
mm.
I don't know. I don't want to end this. I don't want to end this.
Like the way I always love talking to you. Like I really enjoy our conversations, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but what advice would you give to the youth trying to choose careers or anyone who's thinking of shifting careers?
Mm. I think among my many mentors, so the one bad thing about me is that I'm horrible with names, right? I can remember everything. I can remember how you dressed, what you were eating, what you were drinking, but then ask me to remember your name. But I'm trying to change, you know. But a mentor once said, I think yo, guys, babangata man. I think yeah, one of my many mentors said, if if something like don't look for something to live with, look for something to live without. So if you're looking for a career, what is that one thing you can live without? Like na for na ke buka man. Like ke a phelela buka, ke a rata buka. Like oh guys, now among the many things I love about my person is that ha re dutse man ke a utlwa ntho e buang.
Yes.
Like one understand. Okuningi nje ngiyakubona
Yes.
kuyeza after. But just this idea of if find a career that's actually gonna make you can't like not be able to live without it. A lot of the west, a lot of European people get one thing right that we as Africans need to still find ways to do where I stop encouraging my children to go into professional degrees, especially if ababadly. You know,
Mm,
if my child loves dancing, then from annually 2 years old, I take them to all these dancing schools because any art form, any profession, the more you practice, the more you give your all to, the more it gives its all to you back. Do you get what I'm saying? So let's stop looking at things, especially with AI and all of this. Find a place that you're gonna belong, a place that's gonna love you wholeheartedly, a place that you're gonna love back, and a
mm,
place that you then gonna be creative enough, whether it's about through tlala, you know, I mean, as artists, now we're becoming curators, now we teachers, kuningi. But
mm,
because we are doing this art thing, you know,
yes.
just find something that you can't live without, something that even if you up at 4 o'clock in the morning, like the days where I would be going to work, but I'm still up at 4 o'clock in the morning because I'm busy in a Zoom meeting with different poets from all around the world because it's a poetry reading and they doing the reading in South African time. Do you get how frustrating that is for somebody who lives with me? Because then we have to wake up and go to work. But now or I'm there because why ke batla ho nwa sediba sa
Passion,
knowledge. O kila
passion.
bona?
You're passionate
Yeah.
about this. Mm.
Exactly. So find something that you can't live without. Find something that will love you and you love back. And don't be lazy, guys. To like yes. So then, lesego rampolokeng yena o re, read everything you need to know about your art form. Everything. Read everything. Consume everything. Listen to everything. And after that, throw all of that out and start being creative.
Woo,
I
woo.
was just like, what?
That- Amazing.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's when, after you have read everything, that's when you realize that, okay, this is in, this is out. This is in,
Yes.
this is out.
Exactly.
And every day I just see my life doing that. This is in, this is out. And it's so beautiful to discover because, like you said, we
Exactly.
are lifelong learners. We are also learning ourselves each and every,
Mm,
and the more you
mm,
study, the more you upskill, the more you read
mm.
books, you listen to podcasts, you talk to people, you
Yes.
know that's the more you find yourself,
Yeah.
actually, the more you find your voice, you know.
And let's also not be lazy to be hungry for learning, guys. Let's be hungry to learn. Like, nkare, a lot of our youth have stopped loving just the knowledge. Like, knowledge is power, guys. You know, we are here, Letitia Neo, because of the papers that we have. You know what I mean? Like, it does pay off. A lot of our kids go kasi don't think so, but education does pay off. Ngwanako hai. O sa e fella pelo, o sa fella wena pelo, and find your people. All your people will find you.
Yes. Amazing. And today is July 18th. It is Mandela Day, and he did
Yes.
he did say that in life, you know, you must always what's the saying? He says education is the most what? Education is the most
The key
powerful,
to success. Yeah.
yeah, it's the most powerful weapon which you can
Yes.
use to change the world. You
Mm,
know, in
mm,
life, all you need is to just have that weapon, have that key.
mm.
And I wrote something today to say that as much as we complain about the education system in South Africa, that is the same system that got us here today.
Yes.
So, education, please, whether you are unemployed, whether you are struggling, whether, you
Mm.
know, once you have it, it is never, I don't want to say the word, but in lack of a better word, your qualification is not useless.
It's not.
It's
It's
not.
not.
So, they can say whatever they're saying, but
Mm.
just have hope, have faith, and yes, let's just say happy Madiba
Pa,
Day.
pa, pa, pa.
Alyssa, you've built such a strong presence online and in the community. I did say a few of your platforms, but please let the people know where they can find your content and
Mm.
where they can support your projects. Please.
Okay. Thank you so much, Noah. So TikTok Matlalajoe S. Hopefully, it'll have a description in English because the way I don't like Matla,
I'll
but
put
it's Matlalajoe S on TikTok. On YouTube, Bade Chronicles, like it is there on screen. Facebook, Matlalajoe Palesa Sera. Instagram, Palesa Pali, or Matlalajoe. So usually, when you just write Matlalajoe in all these platforms, I'm probably the only or among the few Matlalajues in in the globe. But yeah, ke Matlalajwe as Bade Chronicles on YouTube, guys, and TikTok, Facebook, Insta, Palesa Pal, Palesa underscore Pal.
Okay. And please, guys, do support her content, do support her projects and the community. It is a very beautiful community. It's growing. If you are a teacher, whether in Asian countries, in South Africa, in the UK, in Australia, in the UAE, do join, you know, the TikTok lives that we have. It is healing, it is educational, and it is one way or the other a
Yes.
support group, you know, for us as teachers abroad, and also do go watch the Bade Chronicles. You will hear a lot of stories, you know, from people all over, you know, successful people. You will hear so many stories to just motivate you and also, you know, just give you hope here and
Yes.
there, you know, and
Yes.
you can learn a thing or two. So please, like we said, let's keep on learning, let's keep on upskilling ourselves and believe in yourself. Like we said, education is, you know, the key to success. It is the weapon that you can use to change the world. So thank you so much, Palesa, for joining us today. What a beautiful journey you have walked. You have such a beautiful story. Like, I really enjoyed the free poetry session for that one. Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to our
Thank
viewers,
you.
you for watching. Thank you for liking and thank you for commenting. We truly appreciate your support and we're looking forward to seeing you again in another episode of Teachers Podcast. Please remember to like, share, and comment. This is The Right Space with Teacher Newo. See you in the next adventure.